Welcome to Plug into the Power of Panopto. Um, we are going to dive into this today and just going to give you a few disclaimers to start with. And the first of which is I do not claim to be an expert. Here's what probably sets me apart a little bit from some of you is I've had some time to dig into it to figure some things out. And that's pretty much what I'm going to say. I don't consider myself an expert at all. I consider myself to be a co-learner with you. So I'm sure there are things that we'll figure out together along the way. But I'm going to share what I figured out to this point, and then we can go from there. So just as we get started, I do want to propose these norms. I do think part of this is going to be practicing forming those new habits of mind. Some of this may challenge us as we get into it. And I want this to be a safe space where everybody can share with each other. So, just know that that's, that confidentiality is something we want to make sure we uphold. Thank you for turning your video camera on. Actually, I will say, I think faculty are a lot better about that than students are. I don't know how the rest of y'all are experiencing that with Zoom, but it's a little bit of a challenge with some of our students to get them to turn the camera on. And we want to respect, their right to not do that. But in the same way, it just doesn't feel the same if you're just talking to a box that has a name, as opposed to being able to see a face. So appreciate being able to see your faces today. And if you'll just mute your sound when you're not speaking. It is being recorded for you guys to access it later, but then also for others to be able to access it as well. So here's our agenda for today. I'm going to take you through record a video, upload a video. I felt like those were probably some of the things that you most would want to know. I have pulled together some tips for instructors on Panopto. We want to look at some of the video settings and how to get statistics on your video so you can see like who has watched it and how long of the video they watched. If there's time, we'll get into editing videos in Panopto. But that's kind of the plan, and we'll see how that goes along the way. I do want to encourage you all to ask questions as we go along. So if I get going on things and you're like, wait, I didn't catch that, stop me. And we'll make sure that we do that. Even though this is an agenda, it's a fluid type thing. So we may or may not get to all of these today. The good news for that is there's actually a corresponding help document with each of these items. And you can access those in a Google Drive folder by using the URL on the screen. Let's see, I can put that. Okay, hopefully that link will get you there if I spelled everything correctly in the chat. But that you can access all the documents, including the slides today there. The slides, there's not much to them because I'm going to mostly go into Panopto to show you these things. I know that people have different styles of learning. So if you're someone who wants to watch and take notes, and that's primarily what you want to do today, feel free to do that. If you're someone who wants to open up Panopto and do things alongside me, feel free to do that as well. So I want you to be comfortable approaching this in your own style of learning. All right, so let's go. Let's get started. All right, so to get to Panopto, we go into our Canvas course, and on the left-hand side in our Canvas course, we have that Panopto video there. And that's how you just get into it. Most of you know that this is where your Zoom recordings are living. right here as well. So to record a video, I simply am just going to go up to this green create button and it's record a new session. When I first started working with this, it really struck me that some of the vocabulary, some of the labels that are used in this might not be labels that we would typically think of. So to record a new video, you're going to go to record a new session. When you do that, it opens up with this, this window. Now, the first time you do this, you're going to need to download Panopto. I had actually downloaded the Panopto recorder probably back at the end of July. And I found that just in the time between the end of July and this week, then they had several updates on the software. So it seems as though it would be a good idea to download this software semi-regularly, like maybe every month, check to see if there's a new version, because I found it was having some difficulty working for me until I updated it. So if you run into the issues where Panopto's acting a little strange, the first thing I would do is go ahead and download it again, because that's going to update your software on your computer. So that's the first thing you need to do. Once you've downloaded it, then you're going to open it. So you'll go back to this, go back to create again, a new session, and then click on open Panopto. Okay, so tell me, are y'all seeing, I might need to share my desktop. Hold on, let me stop this share and do that again. Yeah. Okay, no, that's what I want. Okay. Now y'all should be able probably to see the Panopto windows. That look good? Give me a thumbs up, maybe, if you can. Okay, great, thanks. So this was another thing that I felt like was a little bit different that I was having to get used to. When you go to create a video, you have the ability to have multiple sources. Typically, both of these are probably turned to like none, right? So it may look like this. Well, what's really interesting is that, and I'll turn that off. What's really interesting is this primary source. That is what you want to end up big in your video, right? So if you're sharing slides, then that's probably what you want. If you're sharing your desktop, then that's what you want. So when you click this down arrow next to video, you need to choose the correct thing. Now, notice it says FaceTime HD camera. That's because I'm on a Mac, and that's the camera that I have. It'll look a little different for PC. That option will. I have two screens. So that's why you're seeing that sync master there. That's my second screen. And then built-in display is basically my screen on my laptop, right? So if I choose built-in display, and it takes it a minute to pop in, but it will, notice it says in progress here. It changed to that. Excuse me. It will eventually pop in and show in this little window that particular source. So I've chosen the built-in display. I'm choosing the MacBook microphone. Okay, and that's engaging that. Then my secondary source can be what I want to be seen that's small. So in this case, if I want my picture to be small in the bottom right and mostly the slides be big, then I choose my FaceTime camera or whatever webcam that's on your computer. You notice that popped in, this built-in display option. Let me try that again. Okay. Okay, I'm still saying in progress. usually it'll pop up. Now notice also there's a secondary too. So you have the choice to have 3 sources that record alongside this. I'm sure there's a reason why you might want a 3rd source. That's not something I'm accustomed to, but if you do, then you can actually choose that here. Because I have already chosen built-in display, and for my secondary one, the FaceTime camera, those are no longer choices. So my only choice that I have left would be the sync master, but I'm not going to do that because I only want the 2. Okay. If I want to record slides along with it, then I can say record PowerPoint here. Okay. Now, this is making a liar of me because it's not showing it yet, although it says screen capture in process still. So it's acting a little strange. Normally it works better. And I notice here on this screen, it says for Mac OS 10.13 and up. And when I downloaded this at the end of last week, it was only on version 9. So y'all see how quickly they're updating stuff on this? So I'm going to go ahead and re-download that real quick. Oh, there it went. Just didn't see it. And I'm just running through the install process on my computer. All right, then I'm going to open it again. Okay, and now I'm going to, oh, now it's not giving me, oh, because the built-in display is here. So I'm going to say none there. And now I'm going to say built-in display here because that's what I want to be big. And then I'm going to say FaceTime camera here. Okay. Now, to record, I can click record. Now, if you're not dealing with multiple screens, then it might be a situation that is a little much to have this Panopto recording window up along with the slides that you're wanting to record. So in that case, what I would do is minimize this, and there are hotkeys on your keys on your for your keyboard that will record, pause, and stop the video, the recording. Now, it is different for PC than it is Mac. And that's one of those details I have in those documents, those handouts that I've created. So I'm on a Mac. So I'm going to use the Mac hotkeys, but no, for PC it's different. So you'll need to look at that. I think PC, you're using some of the function keys. In Mac, it's a combination of like the command keys. So if I minimize this, then I can use my recording. So let's say I'm going to present this. And now it's recording. So how do you know it's recording? Right here, see, it's showing me now it's recording. So when you use those hotkeys, there's nothing to tell. If you've minimized this window, there's nothing to tell you it's recording. You have to go on faith a little bit for that. Now, if I wanted to stop this recording at this point, then I would do Command Option S. So I did Command Option R to start it and Command Option S to stop it. So now I'm finished recording. I can give this whatever name I want to. I can put whatever description I want to in here, and then I can upload it. When I upload it, this window pops up and it shows me the process of it right here. Okay. All right, so that's what all it is to recording a video. So I'm going to pause right here and see what questions you have about that. Okay, then I'm going to move forward. I know I'm not able to see everyone, but okay. All right. So if I want to upload a video, I go back to this create button and oops, yeah, I'm still in the share. And then I just go to upload media. And this is really kind of a nondescript window that comes up. You simply, first of all, add files to. So this is because I'm in my Canvas course to start with, it automatically picks up on that particular course and puts whatever I do in that folder in Panopto. If I wanted to change that, I could just by clicking that down arrow and going to a different place in Panopto. I could go into my folder, I could create a folder. I'm going to show you some things about creating folders in just a minute. And then I just simply click on the icon, and then I can go to my desktop and I can choose something to upload. Once it finishes uploading, just do this. Once it finishes uploading, it's going to show me right here that it's finished uploading. Okay. And then it's going to come up with a little thing that says upload is complete. I'll let you see that. It now says processing, upload complete. You can close this window now. So it's important that you don't close that window when it's going through the upload process. Because our speeds are higher on campus likely than maybe at your house, depending upon your Wi-Fi or your network that you have there, then it might take a little bit of time for it to upload. But at this point, I can close this up now and it's going to finish processing. And it'll end up showing up here once it's processed. Notice my Panopto session that I recorded is showing up right here now. Okay. All right, and that's all there is to it to upload a video. All right, y'all be sure and stop me if there's a question as we go along.
Oh yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
And you might be getting to this later, but if I record a session in Panopto, is that is the only place I can show it in my Canvas course, or can I download it and put it somewhere else, like in a PowerPoint I show in a face-to-face session? I don't know if you'll ever need to do that, but I was just wondering.
Yeah. So by default, the only person that has access to download any videos out of your Panopto is you. Okay. So students do not have that ability. And you do have the ability to download the video. So as far as sharing it though, I'm going to show you some of the sharing settings that are there and what's possible with that. There is actually a way to share this with people outside of your Canvas course. Okay. So, and I am going to get to that. So we'll look at that with our settings when we get there. Okay. All right. So students are going to primarily use Panopto to access the videos, and primarily it's the videos that are the class recordings. However, they can also access any videos that you create that you want them to be able to see. So this is an example of a video I created for a class that I'm teaching. It's a weekly update. I do weekly update videos for them. and they have access to this right here in Panopto. I also have the ability to put any Panopto video into any place that in Canvas that has that rich text editor. Okay, so in Canvas, you know, when you create a page or you're creating an assignment or a discussion, there's a certain place that you can go to add a Panopto video as well. But your students have access to whatever is in the class folder in here. You can also create a folder for students to use to upload video as an assignment, which this is pretty cool, I think. So I'm in this folder right here, and I want to create an assignments folder. And that's going to be a folder where students can upload or record videos for an assignment for me. So to do that, I'm simply going to go to the gear icon. So I'm seeing the folder right here at the top. I go straight across to that gear icon. And in this overview section, you'll see something that says assignment folder. Now I've already added the assignment folder in this one. So let me go to a class that might not have that. Let me go to Panopto. Okay, so I'm going to the gear icon, and you see there's no assignment folder, so it tells me create an assignment folder. And this explains below it that an assignment folder is a special subfolder that allows the people who have access to your Panopto class folder to create or upload content to that folder. So to create that assignment folder, I'm just going to click it, and here we go. It just automatically created it for me. If I don't want this assignment folder anymore, I don't want to have that access open to students anymore, I can just simply close it here. So that's a pretty cool thing. So that's one of my tips that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay. Okay, the next thing I wanted to share with you is when you put your cursor over a video, you get these different options here. And when you go to the share option, it provides you a link. This link right here is a link that you can give to people. However, in order to use that link, people have to have access. So that link follows whatever sharing setting you have down here. Okay, so by default, whatever you put in a class folder is going to provide you access to it, and it's going to provide those people who are users considered in that class, so your students. Notice here, viewer and creator, right? Okay, so then if I want to change access to this particular video, I just click that down arrow. Notice the options. You've got two options that are anyone at your organization. I want to caution you to use that sparingly. Ask yourself the question, does everyone on campus, all students and all professors need access to your video, right? And if the answer is no, then don't use either of those two, okay? The last one here is anyone with the link. So that means whomever you provide the link, whether they're in your class or not, would have access to that video. So that's the way that you could share that out, Rachel. Other than that, you have the option to download your video, and then you can put it in Google Drive and share it however you want to. All right. So that's another little tip that I wanted to provide.
Can I ask one more question, Julia?
All right. Go right ahead.
the assignments folder that you mentioned where students could upload content,
Yes.
are those videos viewable to all people who are in that, who have that course or have that access to that course folder, or are they just viewable to me?
So I have not tested this out with a student yet. However, what I've read about this is that those, whatever they create or whatever they upload there is only accessible to them and to the professor.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. So let's talk a little more about video settings. So again, you put your cursor over the video, you go to this little settings icon, and there's lots of different options here. We just kind of looked at the sharing settings, but I want to point to a couple of things on this overview for you. Again, it gives you the viewer link right here, but then also notice this discussion piece. Allow viewers to post comments. So do you want people commenting on the video that you've put in there? So if not, you want to take that check mark off. If it's something they're simply watching, you don't necessarily want a discussion around it, then you take the check mark off. If the check mark is left on, it'll show up under the video that gives them an option to add a comment. Okay, so if you wanted to have a video and then you wanted them to have a discussion around that video, you could just have them do it right there under the video. Okay. Downloads. This is the settings for who can download. The default is that admins, videographers, and creators only. So basically what that means is the instructor in the course and anybody who's a Canvas admin on campus could download the video. Okay. Right now that's the setting, but notice that there are other settings here. This authenticated users with access means anybody who authenticates with a username and password into Canvas and has access to your Canvas course, then would also authenticate with Panopto, and they would have access to it, or access to be able to download it. So the default is for students not to have that ability, but then if there's a reason that needs to be changed, notice you do that right here in the overview. And then the last thing here I want to point you to is this availability piece. So a session or a video can be made available after a start date and before an end date. So let's say you only want a video of, available to your students within a certain window. You can specify that here. This replaces, so if you set this on the video, it replaces any of the availability settings that are on the folder the video resides in. So you can do those settings at the folder level. So everything in the folder would have that same availability, or do it at the video level. Okay. All right, we've talked about sharing. So I want to show you these outputs. This was one of my big ahas as I delved into this. When you look at Panopto in the web viewer and you go to view a video, so like let's say you go and click on one of your class recordings you have in there right now to watch it, it opens it up in the Panopto web viewer. And this is typically what it shows. So it will show you, like, this is the Zoom room here, and then this is what was going on in the share, right? So it shows you these two windows. When you're doing a video when you're recording a video for your students and you have, like, say, your slides, and then you also want you to be seen in it, then whatever's in that session 1 is what shows in this bigger area here. And then what's in that source, secondary source, primary source is in the big area the secondary source is what's in this smaller area. So you can actually, this is what's as a video podcast. So the difference between these two is if a student clicks on Panopto video to go watch your video, this is what they're going to get. That's what they're going to see. If you put it into like a discussion or an assignment or a page in a Canvas course, then they're going to see it look more like this, where you've got the bigger and then the smaller. Notice right here, I can change the way this looks. Right now it's showing side by side. So it has the smaller one here right next to the bigger window. If I wanted to change that, I could say picture in picture. Now this is the typical thing you might think of, as in whatever's in that secondary source is going to be kind of in this bottom area. You can do primary video only, secondary video only, tile all streams. So I'm not real sure what that does since there's only two. I think those two would be the two you'd more likely want to choose. So why is this important? Is because that's what is seen once it's embedded somewhere else. So if you put it into an assignment, if you put it into a discussion or something like that. The default here is this quality setting that can be changed, but that default is what is generally accepted to view off the web. So that's why that is, that's why it shows that particular one. Also, there's an audio only version of your video. So you can download that audio podcast here, and you can download the video here. Okay. Now, I'm just going to briefly touch on this. You have the ability in here to add quizzes into any video. So you can play a video, go to a certain point, add in a question that students will have to, when they view the video, will have to answer their question. When you do that, the results show up here in the settings. So this is where you would see those, okay? Okay. In the manage area here, you'll see this, there's this ability to copy your video. So I've already had the question from someone to say, how can I make a copy of a video and move it into this other course? So if you have videos that you use in multiple sections, multiple courses, then you can copy it and move that particular copy of that video to the second course, okay? So speaking of moving, back in overview, you'll see where it has the folder where it resides. To move a video from one folder to another in Panopto, you simply would choose a different folder here. So you could edit, you could click the drop down, you could say no, let's put it in this other folder, and it would go there. And then hit save, and then it would go there. That's all there is to trying to move a video from one place to another in Panopto. Okay. Questions about settings? Okay. Then going back here and going to get stats. Okay, I'll go back on that. I did that kind of fast. So I'm putting my cursor over the video again, and I'm just clicking on that stats button. This shows you views and downloads by day. So it'll show you a graph here. It also shows you viewer engagement. So let's say you had a video and you did have the comments enabled. It would show you these different things: how many views, how many comments you have. I want to go to a place where I know something has some stats so you can see this. So let me go back here. And I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to the stats. All right, so see, this video was only created this week. And so you see how there's this peak in the views. You see the viewer engagement listed here. And then you've got the people who actually, so the students who actually watched it. Notice that there's minutes delivered, and then percent complete. My test student is really sad because only watched 2 minutes. It's only 2% complete as far as being watched. That's really sad. But that, you notice it gives you names. So you know exactly what students, how long, how much of the video that they watched. Now, if you want to get stats at folder level, you can also do that right across the, from where the label of the folder is. Just click on that stats icon and it's showing you for the whole folder. And this is showing you the different videos, views and downloads. Okay. And that's all there is to the statistics. I feel like I'm going really fast through this. Comments, questions?
I was gonna say, we're just taking it all in.
Okay. Well, then let's go into editing. I didn't think we'd get this far, but let's go into editing. So I could just click on the video like I just did, and now it's recording. So how do you, yeah, so, and it just automatically starts playing. So y'all saw that. And when I do this, notice we have some different areas here. Discussion, it says, ask a question or share a comment. Your post will be seen by everyone. Okay. Notes, if I want to put notes are synchronized to what you're watching when you type them. Type and hit enter to add one. But these notes are not, well, they say public. I can make them private. So they could be just for me. And then bookmarks. And this is where you want to remember important moments. So you type and hit enter to add a bookmark in a different spot. So you can click on the timeline anywhere here, get it to that spot, and then put in your bookmark. So it has that capability there. Now, if I wanted to edit this and I'm in this screen, I can just click the pencil icon up at the top here to edit. Now, if I want to cut, say, oh no, that was really bad. I've got to cut that part out. All right, so I'm going to click and drag. Now, if I click and drag across here, it's not going to do anything except move that little marker. But if I click and drag down here, it's selecting. That's the amount I want to cut, right? So I select it that way, and then I click the scissors to cut it. Now, I'm going to hit apply up at the top. it's asked me to close the editor. No, I don't want to close it yet. It does refresh my screen. And notice over on this left here, now when I go to cut, it shows me what I've already cut out of the video. Okay. You can also add another source in here if you want to, and that's what this plus is to add content into your video. So you can do that here. And you can change your primary and secondary view as the preview image. I can preview cuts during playback. So yes, I want to preview those. And then when I play it, it's going to show me where I cut this out.
So Julia, it appears that the cuts don't go away forever. Like if I decide I didn't want to actually cut that, it looks like it's still there in some form since it's.
It is, and it allows you to revert. So that's why it keeps it. That's why it keeps track of it.
Okay.
So let's say I go back here now. And I'm going to close that. And if I were to click on it to view it, recording? I was wondering if it doesn't show me here. Right. Those hotkeys, there's nothing to tell, if you've minimized this window, there's nothing to tell you it's recording. You have to, okay. So let's see, I was trying to see, because I think I did it from about here. Recording. Right, those hotkeys. Okay, did y'all see that little blip? That's what happens. So it's not the smoothest editor in the world, but let's say there's something that gets recorded on the end of something and you just want to take it all off the rest of the way. I think it would work fine for that. But as far as doing fine cuts in the middle, it's not going to be the smoothest thing.
Julia, if you had a video that you added, that you uploaded, could you use Panopto on that, or does it have to be a Panopto created video?
No, you absolutely could use Panopto on that. So this is a video I uploaded. I can still go to edit here. And I can click and drag and cut just like I would a video I created in Panopto. So it all works just the same.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty much everything I had to share. So what are y'all thinking about it?
I had one question about, I haven't used Studio much on Canvas, but Panopto seems very detailed compared to Studio. With the Studio, do you just literally record a video or record an audio and you don't have as many settings with it?
So I will say, in some ways, Canvas Studio is a little more intuitive. And then I'm going to let Hope speak to this too, because she and I have had multiple conversations about this. So both will do pretty much the same things that you want. You can edit with both, you can record, you can upload, like you can do everything with both. So it might be that you decide that Panopto is where your class recordings will live, and then anything else you do for your class you do in Canvas Studio, and you certainly could do that. If you're somebody who's like, oh, I just want to know one tool and not have to worry about the other one, then you want to get to know Panopto, because that's where the class recordings automatically get moved to. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, with Panopto versus Canvas Studio, and, you know, one of the reasons why we have Panopto is that health sciences have been recording their sessions for many, many years. And so that was a tool that they were able to use to get all the classroom recordings in, which is actually helpful now that we are recording in like the Zoom rooms and so forth. And I think it's, you know, kind of like, you know, PowerPoint versus Google Slides versus Prezi, what, you know, like there are some options available, and finding the tool that works well for you. I don't do a lot of editing of my videos. Like, you know, I don't, if I'm in an actual classroom and I make a mistake, I'll say, oops, you know, sorry about that. And I'll move on. Same thing with my videos. Like I, you know, don't spend a lot of time doing the editing. Now I do like Panopto, especially, I haven't done it with the Zoom rooms, but I try to get to my classroom early and start the technology. And if you wanted to take out that 15 minutes or, you know, 10 minutes or so, you could. But, you know, I think it's, you know, personal preference of which one works best for you. And, you know, knowing that we now, like, more people are using Panopto, we want to dig into that and explore those options. At first, last fall, when we did a session on using multimedia in Canvas, Panopto did not have the analytics piece, just Canvas Studio. And so they have actually added, since the spring semester, more around the analytics pieces. So that's actually really helpful for you all if you're actually, you know, recording and you have people who may be asynchronous remote, that you can go in and, like, are they actually watching the videos, as you know, or not.
So would you say, Hope and Julia, that, I mean, you're looking at Studio, you're looking at Panopto, you're looking at Zoom. Is that Panopto's edge? Is that why we would choose Panopto instead of instead of using a Zoom recording or something?
Well, I think, I'm going to say, I feel like this is equal for both Panopto and Canvas Studio as opposed to Zoom for that sort of thing. Because those things, when you record and using those tools, they're already fully accessible to you in your Canvas course. When you record using Zoom, it'll be in the cloud, but then you have to somehow get it somewhere to be able to share it in your Canvas course. Does that make sense? So I think for that reason, I feel like it's a little bit better option to choose either Canvas Studio or Panopto over Zoom. Now, I was talking to somebody because they were like, well, what if part of the video is you want to see a conversation going back and forth from somebody? Well, Panopto and Canvas Studio aren't good for that. So you definitely want to do it with Zoom, and that's worth the extra effort that would require.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And also Canvas Studio and Panopto, they both have the closed captioning option as well that you can activate in there. If you have a student with, you know, who needs to have those accommodations, it's easy to add that in there as well. But yeah, I'm with you, Julia, with the whole conversation. Like, you know, if you're like modeling something, in your class, I'm Caroline, thinking of like foreign language, you know, and you're having multiple people share, then Zoom might be a really good option for that, and bringing that over then and storing it in Panopto later. But if it's just you kind of walking through some things or pre-recording some lecture content, or, you know, making an asynchronous module where students are going to be, you're going to be recording it and then, you know, just choosing between Canvas Studio or Panopto for that.
So I thought I would show you really quick. So in Canvas, I'm showing you this rich text editor. I happen to be in a page, but you see the same thing in an assignment or discussion. If you're adding a Panopto video to something, you can just click this little down arrow here, so it looks like a V, and then scroll to the bottom of what pops up and choose Panopto video right there. And then it's going to automatically default to the folder in Panopto for that class you're in. But you could always go somewhere else in Panopto and choose the video. The other thing is, if you're using Canvas Studio, the studio icon's right next to that little V, and you, for studio videos, you would just click that, and then you can select like your video. So it's pretty easy to incorporate them into announcements or pages or discussions or assignments, either of those. All right, well, I think our time is almost up. If you guys don't have any other questions, we'll hang out here for a few more minutes. But I really appreciate your attendance today. And don't forget to go ahead and click on that link that I put in the chat so you'll have access to that folder with all those how-to sheets. And just let us know how it goes.
Thank you, Julia, so much. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Julia.
You're welcome. Good to see you.